Welcome back to the Queer Gossip podcast. This will be part 2 of our watching of Graham Linehan and Sasha White interview, all about Tough Crowd. Yeah. So before we get into it, we're gonna obviously have a bit of a catch up. Obviously, you would have seen that we had an interview with Sophie Reddle that went up as a bonus episode on Monday. She is still receiving abuse, as you would expect, and so she's had to lock her account down to obviously to protect her sanity.
Yeah, that was the right choice, I think. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, and she's still receiving abuse as we speak.
She was good. She was a good. That was a fun talk, though.
Like, it was. Yeah, it was. Do you know what I mean? It just goes to show how unhinged these transphobes are. They won't stop at anything. But I hope that it gets resolved soon. And I hope that the police in Scotland pulls a finger out of the fucking arse and actually takes it seriously.
Yeah.
Because we don't want, because I'm not going to speak for you, but for me, I don't want to hear about another, suicide happening.
No, that's no, absolutely not. Like, don't.
So if you want to show support for Sophie, you can find her on Twitter at Sophie Sparkles, and just show her support. Yeah. And if you have any inkling of wishing her harm, think again. Don't bother. Just stay in your lane. Okay, because we don't need that shit. She gets enough of it already. She doesn't need any more. So if you want to show her support, you can find her Sophie Sparkles and just show her some love.
If you want to go to the shit show instead, if you're a little cunt and want to be a dick, turn up to my place.
Yeah.
We'll have a fight instead.
Yeah. And, you might think that Max is a bit rusty, but believe me, she'll give as good as she gets.
Oh, yeah.
And she'll win. So I just wanted to mention that. Obviously, by all means, go listen to that. You can find her link in the description of that episode. Show her some love, support. If you're going to be a dick, don't bother. Otherwise, you'll have to deal with me because I'm not putting up with it. Better yet, direct it at me because I've got a thick skin and I can take it. So there's the challenge. If you want to be a dick to me because I can be a dick to you and I can be just as harsh. But anyway, moving on. We're not going to cover it in this episode because this episode is specifically dedicated to Grinner. But there's been another shooting of a trans woman.
What? Where?
In America. I can't remember the specific location.
No.
But
I meant country.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
Like I said, I'm not going to put it up because I'd rather not be angry. I mean, we're gonna probably be annoyed, angry at Grinner, but that's
Why? You don't think we were going to enjoy this?
Yeah, we're gonna enjoy it, so that's why I
Yeah.
just want to bring it up.
Yeah,
but
no.
I'm just gonna briefly say it.
Yeah, that's good.
Apparently,
It's good we keep that on it.
Yeah. Let me see if I can quickly put it up on my phone. Google. Let me put trans rating list NHS. Let me do. This was in the mirror.co.uk. Trans people may. Well, this was back in November of last year, but but I saw this on Pink News. Trans people may face a rate of more than 50 years at some gender identity clinics in the UK. So I saw that pop up, floating around. It says as a study has suggested. Now I take studies with a pinch of salt because they're not always concrete. But I saw that, and if that is true, then that is fucking disgusting. Because why should trans people, trans youth, and non-binary people have to suffer?
At this point, I'm honestly starting to think it's just for shits and giggles.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no other reason for it, really. Just another way of prolonging the suffering. Of
you gotta make sure it hurts, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like I said when I was back that day when I ended up becoming a dude on Twitter. When I became Shad, it's good. It's a good thing that we have International Women's Day because then it will hurt much more the next day when there's realize they're still second-class citizens. That's pretty much what I feel about this as well.
Yeah.
That, by the way, was a joke about dudes who are fucking awful about International Women's Day. It's not that I think that. Oh, fuck it. People know that at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of there's a song by Aerosmith that I used to have on. I wouldn't say repeat, but I used to listen to it. It is called "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
Oh, that's Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I suck at Aerosmith. I only know that one song that everyone likes a bit more than they want to admit that they like it, like the Armageddon song.
Oh yeah.
And the best use of that ever is in Saints Row 4, by the way, because they're playing that song while you're climbing a nuke, and it's fucking boss.
Yeah.
That's so good. I had some joke. I kind of lost my train of thought, but then I can. When I started thinking, but I didn't know dude looks like a lady was Aerosmith actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'm fucking awful at that. Aerosmith is like the less bad AC/DC to me, which means that I still don't kind of like it them, and I really fucking hate AC/DC.
Yeah.
But I like other stuff that are popular. I'm not some contrarian bitch.
Yeah. The reason why that song is more apt now is and it's rather fucking ironic, is obviously the meaning behind the song is obviously the song talks about a man who is mistaken for a woman.
Yeah.
Ironically. It's rather ironic and apt, given that not just me, but there are plenty of men on Twitter who'd be mistaken for women.
Which
So
is
that's
so
why I thought
fucking
it was
weird.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aerosmith wrote it, so but yeah, I mean, it's kind of cliche now. Of a
No,
song,
I mean
it's
it's
been overplayed.
a decent song. I think
Yeah,
it's like I don't know why, but I kind of uh, puts it together with "Girls, Girls, Girls" by Mötley Crüe. And I
oh
will
yeah,
keep saying that because that is actually how. If you look at the fucking umlauts in your name, it's supposed to be pronounced Mötley Crüe, and I will go to my grave on that one. But "Girls, Girls, Girls," unlike "Dude Looks Like Lady," might actually be the worst fucking song of all time. And I don't even. I like the band. It's just that like it's a joke, and the joke isn't funny. But they don't get that it's not funny, so they can't even make it like ironically funny. It's just like, huh, that's
yeah.
and like,
And what's funny is Steven Tyler.
yeah,
What's ironic is the fact that he himself has been mistaken for a woman
oh
himself.
yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's
Uh,
why. So I think that's why he. I don't
he
know
looks,
if he specifically wrote the song. I think it was like a joint effort.
yeah,
But I think that's one of the reasons why he wrote the song, because like
he
if
looks
you
like
take that
such a
to a woman,
lesbian.
then
He, he looks like such a fucking lesbian aunt now, though.
yeah,
Like at the end of it, he like just grew into a lesbian aunt,
yeah,
which I kind of loved. Um,
yeah,
like, she, like all these like sleaze rockers and stuff. The clothes they were wearing were like clothes that them and a lot of like it was either them and prostitutes or like them and really old ladies were wearing. And when they themselves got old, they really start looking like old ladies.
yeah. I should just as a meme, I should have that. I should
Oh yeah,
maybe have that as my fucking bio in my bio. Apparently, I'm a dude that looks like a lady or something. I don't know, just to piss them
yeah.
off.
It's the you are the weirdest fucking misgender I've met.
Yeah,
Like I get like no, it's just like because they did it. It's so fucking weird that they do it in the wrong way. Like they could just think that you're a trans man and like be normal. Like still not normal, but like that would actually be
yeah,
not functionally brain dead.
yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Do they think you're trying to fem?
I mean, listen. I'm not like you may think I'm masculine. Um,
Oh,
okay,
I'm just going
that's okay.
pure by looks
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. But I mean, I didn't. I mean, let them have it. Let them go out. Like
Oh
seriously.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I want them to. That's the funniest
Yeah,
shit. That's the funniest shit ever. Like you being. I'm sorry, but you being misgendered makes my fucking day every time.
yeah. I mean, like I say, it hasn't happened in a while.
No.
Surprisingly. But I'm just waiting for the day that the barrage of constant misgendering happens. Because at the end of the day, it's clear to everyone
Yeah.
that I'm a man. Like it doesn't matter how masculine or if I'm feminine in certain ways. It doesn't matter how how it is. It's like, oh, you're a dude. Oh, actually, no, wait a minute, you're a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, like go, like, you knock yourself out. I mean, there's wind up a Gemma. I'm gonna shout her out because she also received a lot of abuse. She's an actual
Oh,
woman.
Gemma's great.
Yeah. She's a
Gemma's great.
lesbian. Yeah, she's a lesbian as well. Not that she has it in a profile, but but regardless, she keeps having these flipping GC men say that she's a man, And it's like,
I
seriously. I mean, one of them called her fat, even though all they see is her face. It's like, seriously, are you blind? This woman,
yeah.
I called her a man. I was like, and I said to her, like, are you effing blind as well as stupid? And she got offended.
Oh, someone's question. Like honestly, is she? Like I don't get that. It's like I'm not going to say I don't get making fun of people's looks because like, but thinking considering what we're about to watch
Yeah,
and who I am, yeah, I'm probably going to say he's 8 feet tall about 6,000 times. I do not know why I think it's so funny that he's a giant. I just do. It's it's one of those things, you know. I just I've latched onto it. Um, because I actually rewatched like the interview conversation. It wasn't a conversation. It was a conversation. And first things first. The first thing I pretty much say is I'm going to try to keep this from just being about me, and then proceeds to spend 2 hours talking about myself, which is beautiful. Like at the point to the point where when your mic was or connection or whatever fucked up and you left, I was just talking about myself for 10 minutes. What the fuck? So I don't know why I even fucking said it. But second thing, I constantly bring up to him like being tall in the weirdest like ways ever, and that it made me it tickled me when I watched it. I felt I thought I was in a weird mood that day, or I was in a weird mood that day, but I think I kind of held up, even though I'm clearly like off my rocker somewhere. And she was great. Sophie was great, but that
yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, if you have time, obviously I know it's like slightly longer than our average. Seems to be about an hour plus.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was that one off, like 3 hour plus, which will never happen again. That
No,
the interview
but
with Sophie was 2 hours 50ish.
yeah, that was
But
actually a good time, I think.
yeah, but obviously, if you've got a spare time over the weekend, go back and listen to that or watch it now because we're doing video form. And yeah, um, and just show
Yeah.
her support because she may have to keep her account locked for the foreseeable future. Because of the constant hounding she gets.
Yeah.
Just for simply existing as herself, as all trans people do. They just want to exist, live their life, right? Be the person that they are meant to be happy.
Yeah.
That's it. It's that fucking simple.
Yeah, it would be so easy.
Yeah, but no.
Uh,
But without further ado, let's get back. Let's get to part two. So this will be
yeah, let's watch
fun.
some.
Yeah.
Let's watch
Share
some fun little
screen.
interview.
Yeah. Share screen. Right. So I've we got to about the 28-minute mark, but I'll put it to 27. So um
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant in the book when you wrote about the how Shakespeare had to write for an audience, and that was one thing that made him so good was that he knew his audience would literally throw tomatoes if they didn't like what they were hearing, or rotten onions or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And
they were armed. They had knives.
Yeah, right.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
Yeah. But the nice version of that is a studio sitcom, where I don't know if you remember, like there'd be episodes of Roseanne. Roseanne was a great show for this, and it wasn't just laughs. The audience would be like, you could hear them holding their breath during the dramatic parts. Because Roseanne sometimes really went for it. I remember there was a part in one episode, and Dan and Roseanne had the worst argument in front of all their friends, and it was ferocious. It was an absolutely ferocious 5 minutes of television, you know. And you can hear the audience's silence as much as you heard their laughter, and it's powerful. It gives you a chill to hear a whole room suddenly holding its breath, you know. And that's why I still have a fondness for audiences. I still, you know, studio sitcoms went out of fashion, but I think they replaced one kind of generic comedy with another, you know. Suddenly everything had to be like using the framework of a documentary with people doing interviews to camera all the time about what's going on.
Did we?
As a result, I don't know.
That's a few shows, you fucking muppet. It
seemed to me quite a dreary convention after a while.
That's not that many shows doing the mockumentary shit. It's Modern Family, it's Parks and Recreation, both of which have like ceased existence. It's what the fuck? The Office, of course. The Office, of course. Like, is it that common nowadays? Like, I don't like. Yeah, laugh tracks have gone away, and studio audiences isn't really a thing anymore. But that's because people stopped liking being told when to laugh.
Exactly, and I love the fact that go on.
No, but like there's something to be said about a studio audience. I agree, but then I want it to be in front of a live studio audience and not like a canned laughter, because all I can think about when this canned laughter is all of these people are dead. Like literally, we're listening to ghosts laughing. But like, it's not all there isn't mockumentary. Like that's very specific. Oh fucking hell!
Yeah, it's like I love the fact that he brought up Roseanne. Now, Roseanne,
she turned out to be a special one, didn't she?
Yeah, she, much like Glinner, their careers are, in my opinion, are kind of parallel, because Roseanne isn't that funny, right? She was very big in the 90s. She was a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Right, Roseanne was the first show in America, if I'm correct, was the first show to include lesbians. A lesbian. Right, so
I think it's the first lesbian kiss.
Yeah. So she was a powerhouse, but now, much like Glinner, she's become a grifter.
It's also really like I like the old Roseanne, I do, and I kind of like some of the new stuff. What I don't like about the new stuff is they made her a fucking weird conservative, which she wasn't. She really wasn't in the old show. No. She was in real life. Like she seemed to be one of the worst people alive.
Yeah.
But like in the show, she absolutely isn't. And like the whole lesbian episode is about her dealing with her like homophobia.
Yeah.
And actually like realizing it, and she hasn't realized it because she's such a good person, and that's actually a very good episode. Like I like the Roseanne show. I fucking despise the person.
Yeah, I used to grow up watching it. It's like, it was part of my childhood. But you're right, the show I love. I haven't watched it in years, but but the person
I haven't either. But like Jose on YouTube did a retrospective on it, and if anyone hasn't checked that out, you really should check out his like sitcom retrospectives, because they are so fucking good, and I watch them all the time while I'm stoned and just need something to put on.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out because I'm all for different perspectives. Like when they try to make a comeback, because obviously Roseanne made that like awful comment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she
they
was
fucking killed her
yeah,
in the show. They killed her and changed the name to the Connors.
yeah. And obviously they're trying to make a comeback with obviously it's the original actors, which didn't work. But yeah, I mean, just like Gina, she did a total 180 and became a grifter. So it's funny how he brings them up, and it's like, don't you see the parallels between you and Roseanne? What happened to her was she was already like that with her views.
Oh yeah, she seems to be like have been an awful person even on the old show.
Yeah.
If you listen to like the behind the scenes stuff, and the fact that she's married to Tom Arnold.
Yeah, well, I feel sorry for him in a way, or maybe he has the same views as her. I don't know. I don't
Oh yeah,
really
he
care.
seems to. He seems to. It just fucking hell. Nobody who was in Shriek, I know what you did last Shriek. If you know what I did last Friday the 13th, deserves a break. Fuck him.
Yeah.
That film is one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen. It's like if Scary Movie was brain dead. Yeah, that's not a compliment.
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
absolutely not.
No, it was called Scary Video in Sweden, and it was fuck awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. This ended up on a weird tangent.
No, that's all right. Yeah, I forgot to mention as well that again, like in the part one, we will be pausing every few minutes again for copyright purposes, because that's how YouTube works now. But yeah.
The studio sitcoms, I don't know. They never felt that way to me. I guess because they remind me more of a good musical comedy or a farce. Just feels like a classic kind of thing is to try and make a story work that's filmed in front of an audience on 3 or 4 sets. I think that's actually quite an impressive feat if you can pull it off. I mean, we used to go a little bit madder. I always wanted it not to look like a sitcom and to have lots of cuts of exteriors and cartoons and all sorts of different things going on to keep the attention. But I also love that kind of classic style that the Americans were so good at, Frasier and Cheers and Taxi and Seinfeld especially. They seem to me to be part of a tradition that goes up all the way back to George Kaufman and Dorothy Parker and people like that. And I love it. I feel like I'm part of that when I'm writing something in a studio sitcom. I feel like I'm part of a very good lineage. I mean, it's so weird, but you didn't have it over in the US as much as we did over here. But Bilko, the Phil Silvers show, like a show from the 50s about an army base with Phil Silvers, that we used to see that all the time. It was on all the time. And that's where Danny Simon and Neil Simon and Woody Allen all learned to write, I think Woody Allen was on it. So,
was this before or after he was on his stepdaughter?
Part of that tradition, I take very seriously. I'm very proud to be part of that tradition of studio sitcoms. They're also, interestingly enough, I think, a genre that only TV had. It's like it only exists on TV, and I think that's another
theater. You fucking muppet!
Proud about the sitcom.
It's literally film theater.
In theater, a studio sitcom is its own is a creation of television. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be preserved in it, even though obviously it's very old-fashioned. They may never make another one. Who knows?
Oh yeah, Glenn would never be old-fashioned, would he?
Know that the laughter wasn't canned because that's for my generation, it's like we kind of look down on that genre because it's like, oh, it's just canned laughter telling us when to laugh. And then, I mean, I learned that from your book, like that's actually not canned in certain cases. So when I was watching Father Ted, I heard a cough in the audience. I was like, oh yeah, that's not canned. Somebody just coughed.
Yeah, but also if you look
Mhm.
at if you look at things like Friends blooper reels, which are
I
on
gotta
all the
say,
time, you can
this
hear
is
the audience
really like
killing themselves at all the
approving to me,
stages and so
like
on.
self-affirming to
It's
me,
funny,
because
like when
I
you
finally
actually
see a
see a
cis
set of
woman with as
film,
big of a
especially in
mouth
America, it's
mouth
really
as me.
impressive. The sets are amazing. They're so deep. You can't do that as much in the UK. But I believe that a lot of sets in America use a kind of triangle shape. So you get a real sense of perspective and depth to all these sets. A good example would be where Frasier lives, with that huge room, kitchen on one side, and then the balcony right at the back. Really feels, and then the view of the skyline. It really feels like an elegant, I don't know, set from an old Bette Davis film or something like that.
Yeah, it does feel like a set.
But anyway,
Like it doesn't look like an
yeah,
actual a flat.
the audience is like the important thing. It's why the performances are on these kinds of sitcoms are the way they are. There's a certain kind of musicality to the way jokes work on a studio sitcom. Again, that can become conventional, boring, and people can get too used to it. People can start to rely on those rhythms a bit too much. But if you can reinvent it, if you can bring something new to it, it can really do interesting things and get interesting performances. One of the best examples I could think of was Alan Partridge, the first series of Alan Partridge, the sitcom, where they actually built a set with 4 walls. So the audience was actually looking at a wall, and the actors were on the other side of the wall acting. But the reason they did it that way was they could get the laughter, and the cameraman would be able to turn all the way around with the characters and never see the audience. So it was another little invention that just made the sitcom seem fresh again. And they come along every so often, But again, as I say, I don't know if they'll make another one with an audience. They still do, I think, better than most sitcoms, those kinds of shows.
Mhm.
I think people find them comforting.
Yeah, there's definitely a comfort in that for sure. And you wrote about how I don't think it was Father Ted, I think it was one of your later shows where you would not eat all day until you heard that first laugh on filming day. Which
Yeah,
show was that?
that was all my shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean the amount of stress on that final day, because
Mhm.
you're rehearsing all week. The actors literally heard the script for the first time on the Monday, because they never read the script ahead of time. They always read it. That's the first time they ever read, is at the read. Not all, but a lot of them. And then we block it on Tuesday. We run it for the crew on Wednesday. I think maybe it's Thursday we run it for the crew, and then we play it to the audience for the first and only time on Friday night. So all the guesses that we've been making during the week, the
Of course, it's
hope
for the
that the
first and only time.
story
What the
hangs
fuck are you
together,
on
that
about?
it's a good idea, that it makes sense, you don't really know until you get it in front of an audience. And sometimes the worst happens, which is a key joke will happen, like something that is all about the main plot. And the audience won't laugh at it. That's terrifying, because that means that they don't agree with your premise for the entire show, that it's funny and it's a funny area. So I would be waiting to hear that first laugh, and my stomach was just in knots, And as soon as I heard the first laugh, I would just snaffle it down, because
Yeah, the thing. Yeah. So basically, Graham, what you basically do is basically starve yourself. Yeah. What a
Yeah.
great thing to do. Also, we used to have a TV show. It was called Dinner Ladies. It was a show that was written by. She sadly passed away due to cancer. Um, she was a well-known comedian called Victoria Wood. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. But
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't really. I can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
But Dinner Ladies was very successful. And they used to do two shows back to back, and because when there was a problem with the script or things weren't funny, she wrote everything. She wrote all the scripts for everyone. And so, because she wanted it to be, things are never perfect, but because she was such a perfectionist with everything she did, the BBC, I think this has only happened with Dinner Ladies, that they commissioned Dinner Ladies to have basically two shows. So basically, they will do Friday, and then they'll be back. And this was all in front of a live audience on both shows. And so, and this happened throughout. I think there was only like let me see how many seasons they had, because and that was the first time that's ever happened with Dinner Ladies, and it was very successful. So
never heard of it. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you use a certain, obviously, a certain VPN, you may be able to, or even if you go on YouTube and type in Dinner Ladies.
I use a certain VPN.
Yeah, you may be able to find some episodes.
Yeah, I will. You can watch. That's cool. I need to go grab my notebook. Just.
Yeah, that's fine. Dinner. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dinner Ladies had 2 seasons.
Cool.
But it was very successful. Obviously, there was a rumor that they could have done a 3rd season, but obviously with the passing of Victoria Wood, they panned it.
Oh.
But yeah, so for good old Grinner here, basically starving himself because he, it's like that's not really a good thing to spread. Like you don't want to I'm sorry, but you don't want to start saying, "Oh, starving yourself is a good thing." Like maybe the reason why you weren't getting laughs, Skinner, is because maybe it wasn't funny. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. Well,
and also,
if he thinks it's funny, also who gives a shit? Like, do your art, bitch.
Yeah. Also, when he said lineage, it's actually a lineage. Gonna.
Oh yeah, that's one thing, and also second, they are so fucking obsessed with the idea of lineage.
Oh yeah.
Like even there, like he keeps talking about it. That's one of the things that I've seen him blabber about when it comes to the fuck. Yeah, when it comes to trans people being sterile, he talks about how awful that is, and they all do. And it's like now he starts talking about it here, and he's obsessed. This is how I keep my notebooks, by the way. I rip out all the pages because I'm a fucking trash goblin. And then I just keep reorganizing them. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he's but thank you for the tip about Dinner Ladies. I'll check it out. I do like a good old-fashioned sitcom. I do. Just I fucking hate Friends though. Genuinely fucking hate it. It's one of the worst shows I've ever seen. I do not get how that one got popular, but I know that I'm in the minority on that one.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix. I mean, the reason why that is so popular on Netflix or on the Netflix user base is because
Yeah.
they have Netflix has to continually buy the rights every year to maintain
That's
that
all.
it can be on their platform. That's why you always hear of like certain shows, like
Yeah.
certain original exclusives keep getting axed, and it's because shows like Friends cost so much money, and you have
Yeah.
to continuously buy the rights to it. That is why Netflix pays so much money to buy the rights back. That's why
Fucking hell.
it's that because that's why you never see new TV shows or anything like that, because they plow so much money. But yeah, I mean, Glenn, if you were that funny, right, if your material was that funny, right, people will find it funny,
Yeah.
right? There will be no forced laughter, none of that, right? It'll be genuinely funny, but you're not. You're shit.
I'm going to I have this fucking thing. It's cheap shit, like genuinely cheap shit. But it has a laugh track button, and I'm going to start using that motherfucker on this show.
Yeah, yeah.
I just need to plug it in, and I don't like my microphones have been fucking up lately, and I don't like that. So I need to know what the fuck is going on. If it's with
Yeah.
my computer, if it's with the mics. Which is why I'm doing micless right now. If I sound like shit.
No, that's fine. I'm using earphones because
Yeah, I
my
probably do think I
microphone.
have that as well.
Yeah, because my microphone. Um, it might be the settings I'm using on the Elgato Wave thing, but
Yeah.
it wasn't working right last week, so I'm gonna sort that out. But anywho,
Yeah.
let's con.
All that fear would just go away, and you'd remember, oh yeah, no, we worked on this pretty hard. It's good. It's good. It's gonna work. So yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that I like that story about how you would be holding the chicken sandwich in your hand, waiting to hear that laugh, and then the nerves would dissipate. You'd be able to eat. You'd have an appetite.
Yeah.
And is that just who you are? Is that just your personality for most
Yeah,
things
it's
in life?
obsessive.
Where you just you're tight about things and you're intense about
Yeah.
things?
Absolutely.
Please, Sasha, don't talk
When I
about
went on
Glenna being
the
tight.
anxiety medication, when I got cancer, just before I got cancelled, then cancelled, I went on
No, bad Graham.
antidepressants, and for the first time in my life, I realized that it wasn't a natural state to be anxious all the time, because the anxiety just went, and I was like, oh. So you can,
Because you
I don't know. A
create
lot of
that,
people will
you create
recognize
that
this
Yeah.
yourself.
feeling,
Yeah.
unable
It's
to get to sleep at
self-induced
3 a.m. in the
anxiety.
morning because you're remembering something you said to someone 15 years ago that hurt their feelings, or someone who hurt your feelings.
Why could you
And you
not
just can't
just
get to
keep
sleep
caring about
because you
hurting
wish
other
I
people's
shouldn't
feelings
this, or
then?
said that, or I wish I hadn't said this, or I wish I hadn't said that. And it all just disappeared with the anxiety medication. I probably would be able to eat now, in front of a camera, or in front of the monitor, because I've got much
He got
more
on medication and
laissez-faire
stopped caring.
view of things, especially when it comes to rehearsals. I used to think I was
He getting on
basically
medication is the worst thing that ever
I would
happened to trans
I would
people.
never clock off, and you know what I mean. I would be worrying and rewriting late into the night, and then on the last series, my producer just said, do it all in the rehearsal room, and then leave it there at the end of the day. And it was the best advice I could have had, because often problems disappear in the morning, or they reveal themselves. The simple solution just reveals itself. So yeah, I kind of got a much healthier attitude towards working, And I don't really know if I've lost anything with it, you know. I feel like I'm writing jokes at the moment for my stand-up act, and they seem to be coming out as fast as they always did. And
how do you know if they're funny? You don't have an audience.
Entirely, so it's good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to hear. It's definitely, I mean, so the comedy comes without the anxiety is not a necessary part, but I do wonder if your drive generally or your personality in terms of being so, like you said, on all the time is, I think that must be, you know, part of your success, right? Part of your,
What success?
and then also maybe part of what got you so into this other issue, this gender issue, where you just couldn't turn it off.
What gender
Is that
issue?
accurate to say?
There's no
Sure.
issue.
He's
Yeah,
the gender issue.
When you're on a project, you have to be the one who thinks about it all the time because no one else will. Everyone else has a life. Everyone else, you know, their job is to make sure the sound is clear, or their job is to shoot it in a way that
he connected this to the gender issue, and he just said everyone else has a life.
Again,
yeah,
you know what's going on.
I agree with him at least.
But people don't take it home with them because, you know, they're just ordinary guys with proper lives. Whereas I had to kind of take it home with me to some extent, and I was always thinking about it, you know. It's different with this issue, though. With this issue,
it's really isn't.
Why I think about it all the time, and the reason why I'm so consumed by it is because none of my friends picked up any of the slack. Normally, when you see something as clearly wrong as some of the stuff we've been fighting is, there'd be other people beside you saying, "You're absolutely right. This is disgraceful."
What do you think that means, you fucking cunt?
There's just complete silence from people on the issue. So
nobody agrees with you.
Normally get in a normal situation, which is no one's tagging you out. You know what I mean? No one's saying, "Don't worry, you take a rest. We'll take care of this for a while." You know,
I can tag you out, Graham.
Everybody who's in this fight has a similar story. You know, they're either being considered, you know, fanatics or monomaniacs, and they can't quit until they convince more people to come on board. You know, because I don't know, when the stakes are so high, which means that the costs are so high to enter into this debate, and the people who are in it, they have to kind of go all out, you know.
We ruined our lives, so now we have to go all out.
If people stop stabbing each other in the back and stood up for each other, but unfortunately, that's not the nature of this debate, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also when people aren't listening, you know.
Graham, trans people, their lives aren't a debate, right? Also, in a previous interview, he's done a bunch of interviews, obviously, because he's a massive grifter. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, so you know you may have to fact check me, but he said that he popularized the term groomer, or it may have been grooming.
He popularized slander. That's nice. Nice job, Graham. You fucking useless person.
And I'm like, and I thought, and it got me thinking. It's like, do you popularize the term grooming? Well, first of all, you know, that term's been around for years, right? I've heard people throughout the years use that word. So you didn't popularize it. It's just for the last, as you say, for the last 5-7 years of your life, right? You've dedicated your hatred and vitriolic bigotry towards a minority, and you constantly attack people who are not trans as being groomers and predators. And it's like, you didn't popularize it, Graham. You just used it as a buzzword to attack people. That's all you did.
Yeah. You fucking took the power out of it, you fucking idiot. It's fucking nonsense. It has a specific meaning as well. Like, grooming has a specific fucking meaning when it's actually used correctly. And you just fucking ruined that one. Oh, congratulations, Graham! You made hunting down pedophiles harder. You fucking nonce.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it. He has the underage tits on his cell phone, so yeah.
Yeah, there was let me put it up. There was a recent let me I don't have the app on my phone. Let me go fucking use it. Google let me go actually let me go to let's go to Twitter because I think I shared it. But yeah, there was a man who was working in a care home with vulnerable children. And he's committed 21 sexual offences. Because it's a care home for vulnerable children who's been abused or well anyway they're vulnerable children. And he abused them.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Let me go to my profile and let me see if here it is. A former worker in a home for vulnerable children has been convicted of a string of child sex offences. A court heard that Kevin Cooper Shaw worked at the care home in Ellesmere Port, Cheshire between April 2018 and October 2021 that is, where he was tasked with safeguarding and caring for vulnerable children and young people. During this time, Cooper Shaw groomed a teenage girl at the care home, committing multiple offences against her. Following the trial, Cooper Shaw, 45, of Kingsmead Road North, Oxton, a jury at Chester Crown Court reached a verdict of guilty on 21 of the 23 charges. These were 7 counts of sexual activity with a child, 1 count of causing or inciting a child to engage in sexual activity, 1 count of rape, 1 count of attempted sexual activity with a child, 7 counts of sexual activity with a child by a person in a position of trust, 1 count of sexual activity in the presence of a child by a person in the position of trust, 2 counts of making an indecent photograph, pseudo photograph of a child, 1 count of causing or inciting a child to engage in sexual activity by a person in a position of trust. I knew Graham Linehan, sitting on your fucking high horse in your other, right? I popularised the term grooming. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, fuck that guy. Jesus fucking Christ! Was he going for the record of being like the worst person in the world? Jesus fucking Christ!
I don't know, but you know, I don't know. There's stuff like that, and here's Graham saying, "Oh, I popularised the term grooming on, this gender issue."
That's
Oh,
also what,
blah
that's
blah
also
blah.
what he when he uses the term groomer to mean pedophile. That's what he's referring.
Yeah.
No, groomer to mean trans person. Jesus fucking Christ! When he uses the term groomer to mean like trans person instead of pedophile, was supposed to say, and a specific type of pedophile as well. But that's what he compares me to. And like I'm never going to not take that as a fucking like that's fighting words. Like if you said that to me, I'd knock his fucking teeth in because I don't know if I made myself clear, but children are it's my soft spot. I cannot like listen to like kids getting harmed too much. Like it's where I break. It's where I will actually break.
Yeah.
So I take it as like the worst fucking possible insult to be compared to that fucking guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And this is why I have no problem with telling Graham that I do think that the world would be better off if he was dead.
Yeah. Listen, right, I'm going to say this now, and hopefully that will be the end of it. I am all for, and again, I'm not going to speak for Max because Max is her own individual. But for me, if you want to have a constructive dialogue around safeguarding, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have that conversation. But what I will not, but I am not all for is the constant framing that all people who are in positions of trust are all groomers or all paedophiles. I'm not for false accusations of anyone.
No,
Right? It's all a
it
case
makes
by
it harder.
it's all a case by case basis. Now, in the instance of this sicko, right, clearly, and this has been going on for years, clearly there is a loophole within. I can't speak for anywhere else, but there is a loophole in our care system,
Yeah.
right, where these people keep slipping through. Again, I'm all for having that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Now, right, in a constructive, concise, intelligent way. That being said, all of this dissension surrounding trans people, surrounding trans people are pedophiles, trans people are groomers, all of this is pure hysteria.
Yeah, and it also like
And
it changes the focus of actual
yeah,
issues. Like it's
yeah,
it's actively harmful. Like more.
yeah,
I'm sorry to say, more children will get raped because you choose to focus on like fucking nonsense instead, Graham.
yeah. There was prior to this, there were two more people in America that were found guilty of sexual offences against children. One of them was a pastor of a church,
Oh, yeah.
and he was Glinner and the mob focusing on trans people. Like, am I saying that all trans people, that every single trans person is all good people? No, I'm sure there are bad people
Yeah,
within the
yeah, there are
community,
shit people who are trans
and
people. They're not
those
shit because
people,
they're trans.
yeah, and those people, they don't exist to us because we don't want them.
Yeah.
But again, it's not you're lumping the whole community. No, that's not how it works. It's the same. It's like me saying all men are child abusers. No,
Yeah.
all men beat up women. No, use your common sense. Oh, wait a minute, it hasn't got any.
No, no, he rotted that away with fucking mum
Yeah,
sniff. That site should be a controlled fucking substance. I do less damage to myself like binging 4 days on speed and coke. Like literally, I I don't know if anyone knows this, but like when you're on cocaine, you have like really fucking weird and bizarre thoughts. That's why Freud had his ideas. Like actual, like a lot of the shit that Freud said. Yeah, I've had those thoughts like at 5 a.m. and during a binge. Totally. I just didn't write them down and call it psychology. But like, and my fucking sleep deprived hallucinatory coke IDs are less unhinged than whatever the fuck happened to Graham on Mumsnet.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I wanted to get that out there, put it out there
Yeah.
because I'm so sick and tired of this fucking narrative. Like, listen, right, the shit I went through, like, do I trust?
Yeah.
Am I a trusting person? No, I'm not. But again, that's my issue, right? Of how I was, of what I went through. That doesn't mean to say that doesn't mean that I think every person is a fucking disgusting prick. No. Again, it's a case by case basis. Like, how do you not realise that? But no, you're too busy harassing people. She's probably too busy speaking to bigoted detransitioners.
I'm fairly certain she just goes into sleep mode whenever she's not recording. She's a fucking. I forgot how fucking generated she looked. Like she looked.
Yeah.
She's the uncanny valley. She lives in the uncanny valley. How does a person look uncanny?
I don't know. But let's go back to Miss fucking. I'm not here, and you know.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have. Well, you have choice. You have a choice about how you can react to that. You can keep trying to make them listen. You can stop trying. Jordan Peterson has this thing where he says, "Do not cast pearls before swine," and he says that what that means is do not speak to people who are not listening and do not care what you're saying.
No,
Jordan Peterson, that's an old saying, you fucking idiot.
Why am I not? Sorry to pause it so quickly, but why am I not surprised that she mentioned Jordan Peterson? Now, Jordan Peterson, right? He's a psychologist, right? Or he claims to be a psychologist, but really, all he ever does is speak shit.
Right? I actually think he was like competent at one point, but like the whole shitlord cult kind of broke his brain. And he had like a really shitty idea and decided to implement it, and they cheered him on for it. And then he decided to like go fucking nuts and like actually go insane before the world's eyes. Like that was what happened. We need to focus. Like Jordan Peterson fucking killed his mental health for the world to watch, and that's why he looks like he's on the verge of tears constantly. He's a broken person.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson to me, right? And this is my opinion. So no one come at me, or please do if you want to. You know, if you have something constructive, do you want to correct me on? Then please do. But if you're going to be a dick, don't bother. Or please do, because I'm all for having a bit of a spat because I'm petty. But Jordan Peterson to me is, and I'll use the word that you used, competent. I don't think he's even that competent as a psychologist, right? Because in my mind, right, you are either a psychologist, you want to help people, right? That is your job, right? But what he does is he constantly spouts off bullshit that makes no sense. And it's like, who are you appealing to? Because no one actually listens to you. No one actually reads your books. No one actually takes you seriously.
I really did love him in the Muppets, though. I'm a big fan of Kermit.
Oh yeah. I mean, but that's more so because of Kermit, not because of him. But anyway.
Yeah, but why does he sound like Kermit?
Yeah, he does. Not even his own board takes him seriously.
Oh. Yeah, that's true.
His board said to him, because of what you were spouting off, saying you need to go on a training course because basically you're going against your training. And he was like, and he was like, and he went off. He had a fit, saying, "I'll take you to court. How dare you?" And he's like, "Hang on a minute, Jordan." And now I'm not gonna start attacking his daughter, but he's now involved his daughter into this.
Yeah, and she's a fucking idiot as well. So I can attack her. I will attack her. I will absolutely do that shit. She's a fucking idiot as well.
And it's like, what? Jordan Peterson, I mean, for fuck's sake.
And they have
He's
such
a
a weird. It's such a weird.
He's a, Jordan Peterson is a pick-me. He's a pick-me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a pick-me. Like Jordan, can you not just fuck off?
Yeah.
You know, seriously.
Actually, Jesus, like I haven't thought about that. It fucking is.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if you actually. I mean, I sent you the video. I don't know if you've actually had time to watch it, but there's this woman.
Did you send it to me during today? Like, or
yeah, I sent it to you in DM. It's from a girl called Kelly Cadigan.
oh yeah, no, I haven't been had the time to watch it yet, unfortunately.
Basically, let me put it up. Basically, she's trying to model herself on Blair White.
Oh.
So I'll go to the DM. Let me click on her. Right. Yeah. This is what Kelly Cadigan says. Being transgender is a privilege. If you cannot afford that privilege, then you cannot afford to be a part of our community. It's really that simple. Then she used the hashtag #PostTransMedicalism.
How is it a privilege?
Good question. And this is what she does all day. She spouts fucking bullshit.
That was actually fucking nonsense.
Yeah, and she literally is trying to model herself on Blair White because she thinks that, first of all, no one takes Blair White seriously.
Yeah, I haven't been for a while.
But you know, she's a dumb blonde. But Kelly here is a dumb blonde. You can't see that. But yeah, she thinks being transgender is a privilege.
If she wants to model herself as some dumb blonde trans woman, I'm right here.
Perfect.
I can be a ditzy little cunt if you want to. No thoughts, head empty.
Yeah.
I really wish I had my tongue studied right now because that would have been so much funnier if I did.
Yeah. Being
I think I accidentally swallowed my tongue piercing tonight.
Yeah. Being transgender is a privilege. No, it isn't.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm so fucking privileged.
I could say to you, being a cunt is a privilege. It's not. You're just a cunt.
Yeah.
You know, like, seriously, Kelly, not that she'll watch this because apparently she hates fucking the queer community. As well as
No
Blair White,
shit.
because Blair White famously said that because he was in a live stream once, someone in a live stream said, "Why is that man here? She's a pedophile," and Blair White famously said, "Oh, I'm not like the rest of them."
Oh yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Really, like, seriously.
And that's where you see how it turns out, how it ends up for the good ones. Like, yeah, if you're the only trans person there, they're going to be transphobic to you. You're only okay as long as there are other trans people that are more despised than you are. You fucking coward.
Yeah, again, Blair White is a pick me. She wants to be the other one. Like Jordan Peterson.
Yes, the tranny's harder, daddy.
Yeah, like Jordan Peterson. He wants to be the only psychologist. Like, you're not the only one, Jordan. And you're not that successful either. Like, I know, like, no university would employ you. They don't even want you speaking at their events because it's such a fucking nut job.
I need to go blow my fucking nose. I'm sorry. I'm going to mute it so you don't have to hear it.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it's like being gender is not a privilege. It's not. And saying if you can't afford that, there's a lot of trans people who can't afford who can't afford the surgeries. You know, does that mean that that them being trans doesn't exist? Of course. You know, it's like, you know, women like Kelly Cadigan or Cadigan, however you pronounce it, excuse me, is a pick me. And you know, modeling yourself after Blair White isn't going to work. It's going to backfire because no one takes Blair White seriously. Not even the right wingers take her seriously. They're just using her. And then when they've had enough of Blair White, they're just going to get rid of her. Oh, we don't. Oh, we never.
I'm going to model myself after the biggest fucking cunt on planet Earth. Oh, great, great job. Why don't you model yourself into someone unalive, you fucking idiot?
Yeah, it's like that's all we have. That's all we have in this, you know, turf cult is a bunch of pygmies who wants to be the only ones. It's like, sorry, but that's not how
fucking funny as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's what Kelly said. I'm sure she's gonna spew more bullshit. You know, because that's all she does.
I'm sorry about this one, but like I fucked up my makeup when I blew my fucking nose, which is why I'm like making myself look not like shit again. But that was fun. Oh fuck my life! What did I just do? Yeah. Sorry.
However, he does it all the time. I mean, you go on his Twitter and he's doing exactly that. He's casting pearls before swine. So, but it is so, there's something so enraging about people just not listening when something is so important. And you do have an anecdote in the book where someone said, you know, I just don't care when you're trying to explain.
Yeah. That was Jimmy Mulville of Hat Trick, you know. And, you know, you're saying stuff that you think, well, this couldn't fail to penetrate, you know, like young girls.
Why do you want to penetrate people?
Teenage girls getting double mastectomies and being told they're boys. And he says, I don't care, you know. I still find
Could you stop talking about teenage breasts?
But yeah, I've run out of ways of trying to get people's attention to this, you know. But the main problem basically is that
first of all, right, when it says teenagers, right, we're gonna have to take that to mean, like say like 13, right? Let's hypothetically say he means 13-year-olds. Well, first of all, Graham, right? Because Graham is a king of misinformation.
Yeah.
Teenagers of that age, they don't have surgeries yet. They don't have surgeries until they're 18. In some cases, it's prolonged even further than that because you have to go through psychological testing. You have to go through a whole lot of things, and there's paperwork. Like, so it's not so they make it out as if, oh, you go into your doctors, right, and you say, oh, I want HRT, and they give you, right? That's not how it works.
That was actually one of the funniest fucking posts. Yeah. Do you remember that girl? No, I don't know if it was a girl or I don't know if it's a woman or a man, but it was someone who had gone through whatever. Oh yeah, it was she was a woman who was a detransitioner, so she had like gone through the whole process of like trans man and stuff. But she had figured out it wasn't for her. And then there's actually this quote from her, just like, they told me about this, and I just sat there and nodded. I just wanted the testosterone. I would have said anything. Like, so you admit that you just didn't listen before you injected the fucking baldness hormone into you. You decided, oh, this won't fuck me up anyway. Like, I'm sorry. So, where the fuck is your accountability in this? You were above the age of 18 and you fucked up. And which sucks. I'm sorry for you, but fucking hell, don't ruin the lives of trans people because you didn't listen to a doctor, you fucking idiot.
Exactly.
And like that's kind of what.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much fucking testing you have to go?
They don't, because that's why. Because that's why he's like, oh, if I go for, they basically are saying, right, I'm going to use this analogy. It's like, oh, if I go for my morning coffee at Starbucks, oh, it's that simple. You just walk into your doctor's office, say, I want this drug. Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll give it you. No. I'll use my example of having going for medication. Right? It's like when I went to my doctor saying I want different medications, the process, right? My doctor didn't say. I didn't say to my doctor, I want a certain medication, and he just gave it me. No, he actually spoke to me. He actually spoke, saying, "What are you dealing with? What effects are you having?" Right, a whole lot of things to make sure that that specific drug was correct for me. Now that's for mental health. Now that is far more. Now the list for going on hormones, which is one, it can be life saving, but also it can be life altering because for that individual. But for him to make out, oh, teenagers are getting mastectomies, like how old are they, Graham? Right, because it's rather convenient that he left that out.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, if they're 18, then they're above the age of legality.
Yeah,
and
obviously, in some states, in some states and in some countries, the laws are different. I understand that, but even still.
If I were to go through, I'm not going through I'm not going to go through the official channels. I am going to do other things to get my hormones. And the reason for that is because I've known this shit since I was 3, and I've said that before. And it might actually it would ruin my life to have to prove that to someone. And do you know, first and foremost, there's a fucking queue, and that takes ages. I don't want to die waiting in line. But then it's also I would have to go the process takes years, and one of those years you have to live like a woman, something that I still don't know what it means. Aside from I don't know, standing at the stove getting wife beaten or something. Because other than that, I can't figure out what the fuck they're talking about. Do I live as a woman right now? If just purely on stereotype, do I live as a woman right now? I wear thongs most days, and I wear dresses. I don't know if I live as a woman right now, and that's kind of fucked. The fact that you don't know what the fuck you need to do. And if I were to go through that and then maybe get hormones, if they said no, then I would burn the fucking hospital down.
Yeah, it's I think I mentioned this before, but currently there is currently there is a 7-year waiting list.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
So you have to before you can get an appointment, you have to wait 7 years.
Yeah.
But by the time those 7 years are up, and obviously during that time, I would presume that you would be on your specific hormones, your specific needs are met, right? But even then, 7 years to get your first appointment, and that's not for surgery. That's for
the appointment.
Your psychological appointment, your psychological evaluation.
Yeah. So Graham, get fucked. Just
And I also want to point out something, right? Right. And again, I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm not an expert on this shit, right? I'm not an expert on this shit, right?
No.
Doctors, scientists, biologists, right? Actual, right? Talk to doctors who know this shit. I'm not an expert.
But
I seem to figure out, just by using my common fucking sense and knowing how to read out misinformation, I'm able to comprehend this shit. But he can't.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not an expert. If you want to actually know actual truth, actual facts, speak to the people at the forefront.
Yeah.
You know, it's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Like, just and like every major medical organization agrees. Now that doesn't. Now, would it, if they disagreed, convince me that being trans is somehow like not something that is real? No, it wouldn't, because I happen to be trans. Like I'm, in that sense, I guess I'm privileged. I get to know it's real because I get to suffer dysphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah. God damn it! It's such a privilege to cry in the shower because when I shave my body. Yeah. It's such a fucking privilege. I hope you die, you fucking cunt. Sorry, that bitch fucking messed me. That
all over
pissed
the
me off.
world, every major news channel is conspiring to not publicize it, except on their terms. So they'll have some kind of, feature on some non-binary, musician or something like that. But they will never talk about the recent findings about what effect transgender medicine is having on its victims. You'll never see a story about that, and they won't cover it unless they're
Give me the source, Graham.
which is, I think, what happened with the New York Times recently. But yeah, it's what can you do? You can just keep telling people, and I just keep doing everything I can just to alert people. But you have to think that it must be having some effect at the moment.
What's that, Graham?
It's not
Harassing women?
Things
Harassing
certainly
children?
seem to be shifting, even in America and Canada.
That's not effective.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if some of the stuff I've been ranting about for years will finally be heard.
Yeah, it is shifting for sure. And
Good.
I mean, one of the best ways to get people to listen is comedy, right? Make them laugh. So will you ever be wanting a wig again? Because I have to say, I found that so funny when you did the Her stunt. So Her was the dating app, lesbian dating app. And
I found it so funny.
A lot of people got so
Yeah.
even
Bet you
people
did,
who
you
are
fucking.
critical of the trans movement, but I thought it was hilarious seeing you do the wig and the head tilt.
They were mad at
See.
Yeah, and that was all Photoshop.
You mean that time when he, as a man, went on the lesbian dating app, which he criticized trans women? Sorry, you thought it was funny that time that he, as a man, went on the. Remember that time? Everyone that anyone found on there was just a turf being like, "Oh, I'm going to like mess with trans people," and it was just dudes. And they started like uploading each other's pictures on Twitter, like, "Oh, this was a profile I found," and then they had like comments shit like, "Yeah, but that was me," and I'm like, "But if you didn't know it was me, which means that this is a problem." Like, no, you are just a fucking idiot. Like, don't go on lesbian dating apps unless you like want to meet lesbians. Lesbians who can, by the way, put not looking for trans people. Like that's I don't know if it's on that specific app actually, but it's on every single fucking app I've ever been on. Like you can specify really well because online dating is like an IKEA catalog for fucking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's why I love Tinder.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't used a dating app in like 9 years. Like the last time I used a dating app was in 2012, and that's when I started a relationship with my ex. And it's been probably 8, probably almost 9 years, and I haven't used one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not for everyone. I fucking love it. I thrive on Tinder. I'm like Grinder now because I kind of fucked my way through Tinder.
Yeah, but like you say, but you know, if you don't want to date a specific pool of people, just say, especially on that her lesbian app.
Yeah.
I don't want to date trans women. It's that simple.
Which is fine, by the way. Like you don't have to. You don't have to date anyone you don't. It's okay. It's actually okay to not date or fuck anyone for any reason. You never have to give like any explanation. Like I know it's a complete sentence. So that's like all these. And if some trans woman out there reacts badly to it and says that, oh, you're a transphobe, then she's a fucking idiot. So fuck her. Like, no, you're not a transphobe for not wanting to date her. Unless you don't want to date for transphobic reasons, in which case you're probably a transphobe. But like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, no one
just don't date people you don't want to date. And if they like, oh god,
no one is entitled to date anyone.
No.
Right? It's that simple. Right? Again, these are all simple things to understand. Very simple. Yet somehow, right, they seem to not comprehend all of a sudden. It's like I recently had someone who purported to be gay. Again, nothing in their bio to state otherwise. So I'm just going to say purported to. And they told me that a trans woman, that they said that they told a trans woman that him and them and their friends weren't interested, and the trans woman became physical. And I'm like, first of all, I don't really believe that, but let's say hypothetically that did happen. Then that person's a dick.
Yeah.
But again, no trans woman.
The problem isn't them being trans. The problem is them being like a sexual sex pest.
Yeah, but then what he said was, or they said, was he mentioned predatory behavior.
Yeah.
And there it was. Oh, so it's not the fact that. Oh, so you're linking that specific experience that he had, and now he's linking predatory behavior. It's like, wait a minute. Just because this fictional story that I'm going to say, because that's what he claimed it as, a story. You're saying, right, this trans woman was physical, and now you've lumped in predatory behavior. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Out of all, and like a trans person did something cunty, and you got mad, and they did like it's awful if you got like sexually harassed because you said no. Of course, it sucks. I'm sorry for you, but like them being trans is like incidental in this, and it really is. Like it's like out of all the people who've asked me to piss on them, a majority of them have been redheads. Yeah, oddly enough. I'm like who had it. I had this weird thing where like about 10 people out of the people I've dated have asked me to piss on them before we've even got like when we're still having a beer at the bar. And I love those brave souls. They are fucking heroes, all of them, because they looked a stranger in the face and asked, what they thought was him. Because, but, and I love them for that. But, like, half of them being redheads is incidental. I can't. That doesn't mean that like a bunch of redheads want to get pissed on, and I can't assume that means that the next redhead I date wants to get pissed on. I dated a redhead last summer. She didn't want to get pissed on.
Yeah, and then he then followed that. That was then followed by LGBT books were being pushed, and they used the word smut, and he was a proud LGBT.
Oh, smut. No,
Yeah,
smut is the.
Yeah, he called introducing LGBT books smut.
Yeah, no. I would show him what smut is, but actually we're going to post this online, and that's not a good idea because like YouTube would take it down. But like smut is the stack of fucking porn mags that I have like sitting right next to me. It's for research purposes, which sounds really weird to say, but I am like like I've said before, I'm getting into like actually producing professionally made porn. So I'm doing some research with like poses and stuff because I need to fucking learn to do those poses. But like that's smut. And the other thing, that's just things talking about sex. If you're not meant to jerk it to it, it's not smut. Like that's just rule of thumb. And if you can't jerk it to it, it definitely isn't. And if you can jerk it to those fucking cartoons in that type of books, I am fucking proud of you, and you need to like watch some actual porn.
Yeah, the amount of GC accounts I've had, reply to me, sending me flipping memes of anime girls.
Yeah.
It's like do you really you think this has got you, do you? Oh, sending me a meme of an anime girl, right, in a sexually suggestive pose. So what are you trying to say? Like you said more about you than me. Like maybe don't watch that kind of porn, and you wouldn't be fucked up in the head.
I didn't remember who it was, but there was someone who said to me that like none of you are using your real profile. I like because of cartoons stuff like that's why I made the link there. But like because a lot of trans women have like cartoons and like cartoon avatars and like anime avatars especially, and that's why I made this connection. And someone said like none of you trans women, like women in quotes, because no, it was actually the anti-trans women in quotes because it was one of those fuckers who put it in like who makes it one word, which isn't like trans is an adjective, you fucking idiots. But is it none of you people uses your real face as your avatar? To me, who like, yeah, I changed my profile pic a lot, but that's because I have a lot of fucking good pics on my face, which I constantly use as an avatar because I am desperately self-involved. Like it's a weird thing to tell me.
Yeah.
I absolutely have my face as an avatar. Did they think that those pictures are fucking AI generated or something? Do you think they're like 3D animation?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. And listen, right? If you don't want to literally have a profile pic of your face, that is your prerogative. Obviously, because I'm not a complete dick, right?
Oh yeah,
if you
and
don't want your
like
face out there, that's fine. Right, but it's
sorry.
But it's these people who think that it's these people who have a incomplete profile. They have no avatar, and they're like, "Oh, you look ugly," and I'm like,
yeah,
like seriously, like you're saying I'm ugly. Well, then what are you?
Yeah, and I really care about what cunt number 372 on Twitter that for that day
Exactly.
things about my appearance. I need people to understand the fact that like their opinions about my looks don't matter. And same like I'm betting it's the same with you. Like I clearly get what I want with my looks. I get what I want. I like my looks. If you don't, fucking fine. You can be wrong. I don't care. Like that's cool. I actually don't think you should use your real face, like people in general. Like I didn't, and then I started being really good at taking pictures, and I'm a vain motherfucker. That's why I started using my real face as a profile picture. But before then, I had like I had such a fun one. It was it was just I just had like a sad crying woman sitting there. I really want to go back to that mood sometimes because it made my trashy mood kind of fit. But I look so fucking good in my profile picture. I had like 3 topics in a sentence there. That was nice. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like it was crazy, wasn't it? Like they got so much angrier at me than the men doing it for real. And once again,
because you're the man,
and everyone just looks at your finger. You know, it's so annoying. And still, and you know, years later, the Her app is still banning lesbians for specifying they only want to meet women. You know, it's disgraceful.
I don't believe that.
And yet they all thought it would be more productive to insult me by for drawing attention to it. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have material about that in your stand-up about men in
Not
wigs?
really. No,
Okay.
I kind of I might actually I'm thinking of tweaking my stand-up. Someone said to me a true thing. They said they want to hear from you. They don't want to hear a bunch of unconnected jokes, and that made sense to me. So I've been tweaking it a little bit and thinking it more along the lines of an evening with type of deal.
Was his stand-up just
relax a little bit? Use the
shit he read in 101 jokes?
But more talk about things
More
like that. Why I did certain things. What
baby,
what I was trying to achieve.
Even Jimmy Carr has some kind of routine, you know.
And I think it could be a pretty interesting night, you know, because so much stuff you think, oh, everyone saw that, or everyone had an opinion on that, but people don't, you know. Like when you tweet, for instance, I believe only 30% of your audience will normally see you, 30% of your follower count. So people have a very kind of jigsaw like vision of what's been going on. So a show that kind of draws it all together might be interesting, and I might do that based around the book, you know.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of making it kind of about you as well, kind of showing people a little bit about you. And one of the parts that I thought was beautiful in the book was about your dad and his character, his personality. He sounds like a really wonderful husband. He would bring your mother breakfast in bed on the weekends, and you know, that was a wonderful section. What was that like for you to write?
Oh, well, you know, it felt good because I just said goodbye to him really as I was writing the book, and it was nice to be able to pay a bit of a tribute to him, you know. And I kind of didn't actually piece it together in my mind until later, but that anecdote about my dad, my mum and her friends sitting in the audience, and they were the only people there, and my dad peeking out the curtain and looking at her and seeing her there. I only realized later what a perfect kind of image that is, because you know, my dad's on the stage and my mum's in the audience, and these are the two roles I've always took myself in life, and I've always found great meaning in them, you know. So in the same way, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a drummer, and now my son is drumming, and I wanted to be an artist, and now my daughter is drawing. Turns out to be very talented. I like to think that I took some of Dad's, you know, quashed dreams of the stage and brought them somewhere for him, even if he couldn't do it himself, you know. So writing all that, it did kind of reveal all that stuff to me. So I was very happy to get it on paper, you know. And it's also nice to be able to eulogize your dad, you know. It wouldn't have happened if he hadn't have died. I'd obviously rather he hadn't, and I was missing a chapter. But yeah, no, it was nice. It was a nice way to round things off with them.
Mhm. And what was also great about that story about your parents, your mom being at the show that your dad was in, was how he peeked out from the curtain and saw that there was hardly anybody else there.
It was
And
just
then
them.
you
It was
asked,
literally just them.
okay. Mhm. And then
That
you
might have
asked
been the
if your mom
coolest thing
said
I've ever done on the show.
that it was just you and your friends in the audience. And she said, no, he was quite happy to see us.
He was delighted. He was
Yeah.
delighted. I love that story. And he used
Mhm.
to do, and then he
Oh,
did
shit.
that, like, gosh, he did this little poem that he used to do, and I tried to get it down as best I could, but you can't find it anywhere. The play is out. The play is called. Its play is called something like "The Colonel's Daughter" or something like that. You know, hilariously old-fashioned title, and you can't find the lyrics, and he changed them anyway. So had to do it from memory. You know, we asked a bunch of friends and stuff to piece it together with us. There was one line we just couldn't get, but yeah, he did it at our wedding. I remember he did it at our wedding, and he did it really quietly because he was shy. And I said,
Yeah, well, it really
he
fucking worked, didn't it?
wouldn't
That
take it.
relationship is going
He
great
just
for you,
wouldn't
isn't it?
take
That
it.
marriage.
And it was only just to speak up because I wanted to hear it, you know. So, but it
Oh,
was
yeah.
great fun. Yeah, he was a sweet guy. He was a sweet guy.
Oh,
He could. That story is true in it as well. Like, if he saw a baby crying in a film, he couldn't enjoy the film because he knew the baby would have had to have been made to cry for the scene.
yeah, your dad sounds like
So,
he was a
we
wonderful
were watching
person.
a Dead
What
Zone
happened to
literally,
you
and
then?
it finishes with Michael Sheen holding a baby up and shielding himself from an assassin. And my dad didn't like that at all. Just totally threw him out of the film because the baby was crying, you know. So yeah, he was a genuinely good man,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Baby's
probably.
crying, you know.
And that, when I read that
Yeah.
about that he would turn the TV off if there was a baby being put in distress. Did you inherit that or any aspect of that?
No, I kick babies.
I can't look at anyone. I can't look at kids being hurt or like a film.
But you
or a funny
hurt kids,
game.
Graham,
I will
you
never
fucking
see a film
useless
like that.
person.
But
Like, that's why I don't care about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Great.
post pictures of like
kids
topless
being
kids. You fuck.
kids aren't being hurt, and if
Hmm.
and I'm going to put a massive, caveat here. If there are kids who are being forced, right, to have surgeries, right, and I use the word if, then that is fucking sick, and those people should be arrested, right? But we
Yeah.
know that doesn't. But we know that doesn't happen, right? Because kids are being hurt, right?
No.
What was it like? Remember when? Oh, we kids have a mind of their own, right?
Yeah.
How about we let the kid decide for themselves?
No, because that's apparently bad or something. Like, kids know who they are, like they do. I
Of,
like.
yeah,
Uh,
of course, right?
and thing is,
Yes,
like, about everything, about every other thing, we listen to child. When it comes to this kind of stuff, no, absolutely not. Like, the whole fucking psychology behind child upbringing these days are that we're supposed to like listen to the kid. Like, we
Yeah.
don't. If a child says I'm hungry, we don't. No, you're not.
yeah. It's like, do you understand, Graham, about not listening to your child is actually a form of abuse, or do you not understand that?
Yeah, like,
Children know what they want, know who they are,
yeah.
right? Now, yes, of course, they may not actually fully understand or comprehend,
Mm.
right, at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, right? But kids are intuitive,
Yeah.
Right, they know who they are. Right, and by you not listening to them, or you not listening to that said child, or because you think it's in their head, or because you think it's a phase that kids go through, that doesn't work, and it actually backfires massively. So no, kids aren't being hurt, but again, as I said with a caveat, if that was the case, then those people should be arrested.
Yeah, of course. And like the kids who are being hurt are the people who Graham hurts.
Yeah, it's like earlier today, I recently had someone say that apparently we are the ones who are wanting to keep conversion therapy, because apparently, according to this person, we are trying to trans the gay away. So actually, no, that's incorrect.
That was the one you said. Was that one you sent to me?
Yeah, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
we want to end conversion therapy.
Yeah.
We want
Trans
to
the gay
end
away. I transed my straight away, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's like, do you not understand that conversion therapy targeted gay people first, and now they're targeting trans people. So you want people who are gay to suffer, and seriously. But Graham, no, shut the fuck up. Like, no, you're clueless. You're totally clueless. And I'm gonna keep saying it. No wonder why your ex-wife left you and took the kid away, because she had the right mind.
Yeah. I love the fact that he looks sad now. Like he's just in a bad place right now, and that makes me happy. Because I'm just cruel to him at this point.
Yeah, the funny thing is, though, he was like that prior to divorce.
Oh yeah.
So not that I'm saying that.
No, I mean in this specific, he's about to cry.
Yeah, yeah.
And I I want to just first and foremost, the whole runny makeup bullshit, that was all me. No, I don't want to put any of that cruelty on Torin. That wasn't a planned thing. I just had an idea, and I went with it, and I'm happy I did, because I do not give a shit about Graham. People missing their parents, that's awful. Truly, my heart breaks for you. I'm lucky enough to not have to miss my dad, but Graham, I don't give a shit. I want him to feel bad. For the shit that he does, fuck that shit. No. That was the meanest thing I've ever done in my entire life, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna obviously continue to watch the rest of it. And we'll probably pause again for copyright reasons. But just one thing, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, because again, people there are dickheads out there who will think that we're doing this for laughs, and we are, because
I mean, clearly, but it's also
we don't. Again, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't wish divorce on anyone. Right? Divorce is the last thing that you want to have to go through, and it could be for myriad of reasons, right? But the sole reason for his divorce was solely because of his obsession.
Yeah.
Right? There were other contributing factors that we will not be made aware of, obviously, because it's none of our business. But that was the sole reason. Right? When you have a platform dedicated to what he does, he deserves no respect from anyone. And so if you feel that we are being harsh, oh well, this is what you get. When you
That's
try to
it.
ruin other people's lives simply because you have an unhealthy fixation on spreading lies and misinformation and phony science to justify your transphobia and transmedia. And for those of you who don't know, transmedia is hate. By the way, I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy.
No.
I have no empathy. I don't, and that's where I stand.
I don't give a shit. Like about yeah, absolutely. Like that's a classic thing also. Like
Yeah,
people when transphobes tell me that I'm being cruel, which like yeah I am. I don't care about you. Like because I don't want it to be like some of them seem to think that I want a fun sparring match. No, 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 no. I want that, but I want them to feel like shit.
yeah,
Like that is my I don't care if I like yeah actually I do care a lot if I make them feel bad because that's my as I said my goal. I want them to.
yeah. And
Uh,
I
and that's
feel
because they're the worst people alive.
yeah, exactly. And and I'm also the same. And I also feel no
Yeah.
sympathy and empathy towards people who think that people, survivors like myself, who have gone
Mm.
through child abuse, who thinks it's funny. I have no
Yeah.
sympathy or empathy for them, and they can go fuck themselves, right? So if you think that joking about someone's life, joking about what happened to Next Benedict, joking about what happened to Bjorn Jai is funny, you can go fucking kill
Yeah.
yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm not sorry. And I'm not. I don't at this point.
I
Right
agree.
up until now, I've kept my anger and hostility aside because
Yeah.
I don't want to come off like an absolute arsehole. But at this point,
No, and I'm
with
mm,
everything that I've been through and
yeah.
everything I've seen, I don't care. So if you think it's funny, if you think it's funny to direct transphobic abuse towards Sophie Reddell or other trans women, you can go fuck yourself
Yeah. Yeah.
because I've had enough. And you can, and you can't cancel us or silence me because this is our podcast. We can say what we
Yeah.
want,
Yeah. Fucking
right?
try. Fucking try to
So,
cancel me.
so if I don't, if I have anything to say that I may not want to say it on Twitter, I'll say it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have a problem with that, and if you have a problem with us reacting to what's being said or whatever, don't listen. Go somewhere else because we don't want
Yeah.
because we don't want people like that comment enjoying our content. This
I would love to
content,
see someone try.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would just so that we
Yeah, I
can
would
just
love to
so
see someone try to cancel my 80 follower Twitter account.
yeah, no, so yeah. That being said,
Yeah.
if you want to learn, be come along on a journey with us. You're more than welcome. We appreciate all of the support, all of the
Yeah.
listens. You know, we are doing really well in terms of listenership.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
we really appreciate that. We appreciate all of you, but for all of those transphobes who may hate listen or hate watch, thanks for the view and listen, but fuck off because we don't want you. This is a safe place where we
Yeah.
interview people who actually make a difference, right? And like I said previously, right, I'm not an expert on this shit, right? I shouldn't have to talk about this stuff with Max,
Yeah.
right? Max shouldn't have to talk about this stuff, right? We just want to have a conversation, talk about what we want to talk about. So let's not start with all this bollocks, because
I would love to talk about something else than the fact that people are politicizing my existence, but I
exactly.
can't because people are politicizing my fucking existence.
Yeah.
The second when the trans genocide ends, I promise I'll make sure that this turns into a movie review podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we want to review other stuff. Like we want to like do an episode on LGBTQ movies, books.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that. You know, we don't want to have to spend an hour and a half, probably 2 hours plus, on these issues. We don't want to cover topics on politics or trans people, but unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we have to cover it because, like Max has just said, they are politicizing trans people's lives. They're politicizing the LGBTQ plus community. So we have to unfortunately talk about it. We don't want to, but we have to. And until that ends, which I hope it does, but I can't really see that happening in the current state.
Yeah.
We're going to continue talking about it, and then when it does end, we'll move on.
Yeah.
So if you are expecting us to talk about fun, fluffy stuff every week, unfortunately, I hate to burst your bubble, but that might not necessarily be the case every week. We will try and I will try and find other topics of positivity that we can discuss to level out the fucking constant negativity, but that might not always be the case.
And I bring my good sense of humor.
Yeah, but that being said, and that being probably the fifth tangent of this podcast so far, we're gonna watch the rest of this. We'll obviously gonna pause again, have a little bit of a conversation, and then get this video done with. Because
it's interesting. Yeah. I saw there's a very clever thing Ken Loach does, and it just made me super aware of it. But like, there's a bloke talking very aggressively to a woman in one scene, and I remember when I first saw it, I was very shocked, and I was very worried about the kid. But then I noticed when I looked at it again that the kid, you don't see the kid in any of the shots. The kid is actually not present when the bloke is shouting. And so what it did make me do is aware of that. I always look at things and I always think, is that kid, is anything happening to that kid to make this performance possible? You know what I mean? But normally it seems that people are pretty good and even use special effects and stuff like that, It's a long time, long time from the days when the studio system mistreated kids so terribly, I just heard some of the stories about Shirley Temple, and it's interesting because you look back at that stuff and you go, oh, actually, yeah, that was so weird, and we all everyone just kind of accepted it, It was a strange old time for child stars.
Yeah.
I find myself agreeing with Graham.
Then your mom is quite funny, isn't she? Because there were some stories that she tells.
Yeah, well, she made you, and you're a fucking
hilarious. Joke. Like the cat coming in and jumping on the piano.
That's right. Yeah. She's so funny. She would tell us stories, and you would have to hear them a couple of times. So she'd tell the punchline, and you'd go, "What?" And she'd have to tell you it again, and it was only like the second time that you realized she was telling the truth. And then it would just become the funniest thing. Like the one she told us was when she she said she tried to grow carrots, and didn't have much success. They were very small. She went to a library and said, "Yeah, do you have any books on gardening?" And the woman said, "Yeah, what kind of book?" And she said, "Oh, I tried to grow some carrots, but they'd only be fit for dwarves." And she said that they both turned to their right, and there was a small man waiting in the library. And she said, "What are the chances of that happening?" She said, "I never in my life saw a dwarf in Castleknock, And it was just the fact that she just happened to say it there, and the guy was there, and this is a very small, suburban
She looks
place.
so
It's just
fucking
these
pained to have
moments of
to
extreme
pretend this is a funny story.
banality that somehow acquire a kind of surreal edge. I didn't realize it, but she must have been giving me that sense of humor from when I was a kid, So it was nice to write about both of them and kind of thank them for everything they gave me,
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you
And
ruined it.
it kind of, I think,
Yeah.
reveals a little bit about how maybe you tell me if I'm off base here, but you're made up of this sensitivity to, like you said, bullying or pain of others, and the humor, and like this absurdist humor, and then it comes together, I think, in you.
Yes.
Is that accurate? That's the sense I got.
I think so. When we were writing Father Ted, Arthur and I used to always, make something happen to him, and then we'd just laugh about it, and we'd always say, "Poor Ted, poor Ted," but we were doing it, But he had to suffer for the show to be funny. So, I think it's possibly being quite aware of pain.
If you have to
and
suffer
humiliation
to make
and
something
things
laugh,
like that,
or
and
make something
trying
funny,
to find maybe
then
some
it's not
kind
funny.
of way of
That's not how
laughing
comedy
at it
works.
to make yourself feel better about it. Like, I met this lovely guy recently. He's a soldier.
I've never heard a more
ex-service.
boring conversation
He
about
was
comedy.
talking about the
Yeah.
I think he was in the SAS even, and he was talking about the training, and he said, "We lost 3 people on the first day," and I said, "They died?" And he said, "No." It was like, of course they didn't die. They're not killing people in training for the SAS. But because moments like that where you wince when you think about them for a day or two, but then after a while, they just seem really funny, They died? No.
That wasn't funny.
So yeah, I love it. I'm always on the lookout for moments like that.
Am I going crazy? That wasn't a funny
Okay,
story.
there was one thing I
It was him
disagreed with
misunderstanding
in your
something.
book,
Like, it would probably
which
funny
was
to
that when you
experience. I
said
don't know.
that women don't
Yeah.
swear at each other and talk to each other in abusive ways.
Did I say that?
Something like that
Oh gosh,
on
it's
Twitter,
certainly
generally.
been disproved recently. It's been
Right.
been a bit of a firefight out there.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a certain rawness. Maybe it's a slightly different way that women communicate. It's so
You
violent.
fucking people have never
I think
met like
what I
my
meant-
friends.
I can't remember the bit where I talked about it. Do you remember where I talked about it?
Maybe I
Oh,
can
for
find
fuck's
it.
sake, Graham.
Well, you talked about, the context was trans activists. Which
Right.
You wrote the fucking thing, Graham. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Are you telling me you can't remember what you wrote? And that joke wasn't
He
even
can't
funny.
understand it. He has an entire chapter
Oh, so
which you didn't even follow. So
Yeah, so you're saying to me that that your mother walked into a library and there just so happened to have been a dwarf there.
Yeah.
And you were like,
Like-
oh, and your mum was like, oh, I never knew dwarfs existed or whatever the fuck he said. It's like that's rather convenient.
It's the dumbest shit.
A dwarf just happened to be
I
there.
think she meant he never seen a dwarf in that part of the I don't fucking. What's the fucking funny part about that? Like, that's again, it would probably be funny in like a sitcom or something where you get to see it. Why does he have the line delivery of a fucking like doped out? I can't even figure out the end of that sentence. That was a. I needed to have thought more about that. But yes, he has the delivery. He's the fucking timing of a stoned dead person.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to not do the comedic timing of a stillbirth this time.
Yeah, it reminds me of a scene in Family Guy where Stewie, like
Yes.
Stewie is probably about 3 or 4 years old, I think, or maybe
Yeah.
even 2. And Lois, one of the characters in Family Guy, she gives birth to Stewie, and obviously because it's a cartoon, Stewie is obviously fully grown and is able to talk. And there's a scene where Stewie comes out of obviously the vagina and with his head, and he just turns his head and he just says, "Who the fuck are you?" And it's like that's funny.
Yeah, it's
Stewie
funny.
is the size of a dwarf because obviously the kid is probably 3 foot. That would be funny.
Yeah.
Ginner's rendition of his mum's joke. I hate to say this about your mum, Ginner, but your mum's sense of humour was shit.
Yeah,
And
like
coming from
that's a fun anecdote to tell. Like if it happens to you or something, to tell to a friend. Like you can't. That was his example of her being extremely funny.
yeah, like Ginner, like no, your mum wasn't that funny. Like, come off it.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'd rather fucking clean out dog shit than listen to your fucking jokes.
I desperately need to see his.
Completely.
Now that I know that his stand-up is literally just him telling jokes.
And that you don't see that
Yeah.
from
Fucking-
besides standing up to them generally.
Oh,
Yeah, I generally don't. There's a few pockets of extreme people who like to speak in the most aggressive way. And I guess that they pick that up from often the people they're fighting on the internet. But generally, it seems to me that trans rights activists, especially the ones who call themselves women, are fully intact men and are just really just, like goths, and they found a way of speaking in the most appalling way to women, Their
did you say
mums would slap
goths?
them in the face if they heard
goths,
something like that.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking goth,
So
Graham.
that's
You
kind of what I meant. I
dumb
think.
shit.
I certainly know
I'm a
that it gets
bimbo.
in a bit
Get your
of
shit
gloom
straight.
when some turfs are gathered together. But
Yeah. Well, there's verbal attacks, and then there's the power of the male aggression in person in real life. So that's different. And one thing you write about chivalry, and I like that part because I know a lot of feminists would get on you for that, get on your case for that, and they don't like chivalry, anything like that. But
fine, chivalry. I challenge you to a duel, Graham. Right now. This is fucking official. You consider me a man.
There's kind of a responsibility there, right? I mean, that
also, I
you
hope
can't
you
get around
let
that
your
fact.
fucking
Men are bigger and
king
stronger
sleep
than
in
us.
your.
So, just like in the
if
way,
someone's struggling with a case,
Do you fight
could
under
easily
the name of God? This is
bring
what
it
chivalry
downstairs.
is.
Why wouldn't you know what I mean? What I don't like is its opposite, like that the idea that one should not be chivalrous because that would be sexist. I hate that idea.
Never back down from a duel.
And it's I think it's actually a feature of liberal feminism more so than it is everyday feminism or radical feminism.
Liberal feminism is everyday feminism. That's one of the problems.
And there's actually no, we've seen what's happened to that.
Like you're not a rad fem, you're a fucking fan.
Women's sport is being destroyed.
Read up on radical feminism, you fucking moron.
And I also do feel, I said in the book, a man should have a code. I feel that's a good thing too, because I think one problem a lot of men have, a lot of young men at the moment, is they simply have so many conflicting ideas about what they should do about their toxicity that they are frozen in decision, And the thing about a code, in this case, a code of chivalry, is it just takes the thought out of it. If you see someone struggling with a bag, if you don't have the code, then you go, what do I do? And it's all awkward and embarrassing. But if you have the code,
okay, I need to like
be one hand
for this one because this is so fucking weird.
All it is.
Is that his fucking go-to example? Jesus fucking Christ! I know people don't really get this about me, because I don't like act that way. I am one of the most weirdly. I have extremely strong principles that I will never break. That I like, and they can like even if, for example, something bad would happen to me if I didn't. I can't break them. Like I have an extremely strong sense of principle. This can actually lead to problems because one of those principles is full and complete autonomy for people, which means that I can't be in a relationship where I can't fuck anyone I want. And which is a problem even in non-monogamous things. Like I don't want to have to tell anyone because I will forget and stuff. But I have like extremely strong senses of ethics and extremely strong sense of principles. For example, the whole fucking intentions don't matter is one of them. Because when intentions did matter to me, I could get away with doing shit is shit. Because intentions mattered. So I do believe that you should have a code to live by. I don't believe that code should be pick up the bag for someone. What the fuck? Because if that's the code and you have to follow it all the time, you're going to be fucked. And if you don't have a code, I don't know, be a normal fucking person. They look like they need help. Maybe I should help them. Or I don't have the time. You don't need a code to help people pick up the bag, you fucking idiot. What the hell?
Yeah. It's like it's like whenever I'm ever out and about in town, right, and I see someone, they appear to struggle. They've got a bag of shopping. They've got a posture. They've got a kid, right, and they're going towards the exit. I'll open the door.
Yeah.
Right, or do stuff like that. Now it has backfired in my face on a couple of occasions where I've done that thing where I have just opened the door because I saw a woman walking towards that specific entrance, and so I preemptively opened the door for her. I've had any, and that is. One instance is when that woman has turned around to me and said, "I can do that myself." I'm like, I'm being kind.
Yeah.
It's like, so there is that aspect, but
I don't think you're a fucking idiot.
So, do you want men to live by a code? What? Live by a code like I don't know.
Yeah,
like Andrew Tate. You want all men to be like Andrew Tate.
Yeah, he has a code.
Live by code.
Like, you need to know if that code is good or bad. And, like, this is a useless thing to have a code for. Like, just be a normal person for 5 fucking minutes, you...
Yeah.
Like, and that's, I'm unhinged fucking idiot saying that over here.
Yeah. Oh, you see a woman struggling, open the door. Oh, yeah. you see an elderly woman struggling to get across the road.
If you don't have a code, you'll just point and laugh. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fucking muppet.
Yeah, it's like there's not like he's talking as if he's talking like we're in the fucking 1600s.
Yeah,
Where
that was
they
what I did
were,
earlier. Like when I said the shit about like inviting your king to stay with you and like never backing down from a duel. That's actually chivalry. Like those
Yeah.
kinds. I don't remember the exact chivalrous code, but like that's what chivalry is. Chivalry isn't you. Oh Jesus fucking Christ!
it's like,
Go
you
be a
know,
knight and slay a dragon. You fucking useless muppet.
yeah. It's like, you know, I hear this word all the time, right? Chivalry.
Yeah.
I sometimes when I'm on YouTube, I sometimes watch the View. You know, it's like it's obviously a show on ABC hosted by Whoopi Goldberg and four other women. But and there's a particular host. Her name is Sonny Hostin. She's an attorney, and she often uses this word chivalry. There's no decorum anymore. And it's like chivalry itself is dead.
Yeah.
Decorum does exist in certain pockets, but I hate to break it to you, Sonny, but we're not in the 50s anymore. You know, you can't just go up to a random person, right? Especially now in the current state, especially in America. Like, you can't just go up to someone and open a door for them because then you'll be in fear of probably getting shot.
Yeah.
So no,
Mm,
that chivalry does exist, but only in certain pockets.
Yeah. And also, like,
But
I do enough amphetamines to be a 50s housewife, though. I gotta say, that's the. I actually did like once when I was cleaning, and I just said that like I'm cleaning my part. It's just sent it to my boyfriend. Cleaning my flat. I need to cleaning my flat while I'm just totally hopped up on amphetamine. He's like, "You'd make a good 50s housewife." Was his only it was his response, which was funny. And that's where that bit came from for me.
Yeah, I saw the pin. I want to break free by Queen.
Yeah.
Like, fuck your code. We don't need a code. It's basic.
No,
Fucking,
just
it's
be a
basic.
normal person.
It's basic fucking principles. You see a
Yeah.
woman struggling. You see an old gentleman struggling. You go and help. You don't need a code.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
fucking hell.
Like the God damn it! I use this joke a lot. I want to bully him because he's such a fucking dork now. Oh, you need a code. No, you need to get shoved into a locker, you fucking loser.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I would never bully a student, only a cunt.
You know? So I think that like having a code is a good thing for men because men often aren't socially the best creatures anyway. So it's the same reason we put them all in tuxes at a wedding because you can't trust them to choose their own clothes for a wedding. You got to dress them all the same and they behave the same. And that's perfect. That's what you want, you know.
Where the fuck did you put that up?
I just think
You're a fucking ape, Graham.
You know, chivalrous mindset is a good thing overall. It's a net good to be chivalrous, I think. You know, it may have some problems with it from a feminist point of view.
You're
I
a net
believe the
negative for the world.
are a little bit sexist.
Regardless of being chivalrous or not, you fucking.
You know, I mean, considering the violent insult that women have been facing for the last few years, I think it's the least we can do is
he sounds like a fucking nepo
be a
baby.
little more thoughtful about how we treat them, you know.
Everything's wrong with the world.
Do you think that there's in modern culture just too much choice and that tends to have people get a little bit lost, like in your tux example. Like there's no choice, it's nice and simple, kind of like a school uniform. You know, you don't get lost in all the what to wear, what not to wear.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a feature or a facet of our culture now? Too much choice?
Like if you look at the amount of
God
content
forbid we have too much choice.
You know, Apple TV, Prime, Netflix.
Just torrent it.
God, I don't know. You probably have this experience too of just going through Netflix and just endlessly and seeing the same titles come up and up again and again and again, but there still seems to be thousands of them.
Broaden your search.
None of them seem any
Graham.
use. It's a weird thing, but maybe that's also because I'm getting older. A lot of these shows are aimed at like the 18 to 30 market, you know. But I don't know. It just feels like the more stuff that's out there, the less I'm interested in it, you know. Although I will say that I've seen things recently that have really kind of cheered me up about the future of things, like Nathan
Less choice?
The Curse that he did with Benny Safdie.
Like
and
he's so close to having a point. Like they'll separate. Like
I've seen some good.
media is
weirdly
fucking.
enough, horror films seem to be as good as they always were. Horror films they didn't go off. They didn't go down.
No, they're better. We're in a golden age of horror. You fucking idiot.
And music is still great. There's
and
so
horror
much
is
great music out there. Even though some of the artists call themselves trans, it's like, you know.
What do you listen to?
Birds Straight Death.
Well, that's the thing. I'm just kind of
his favorite song is Pretty Girl Snuff
Someone who really loves singles.
That's actually one of my favorite songs. Listen to it if you haven't. It just sounds like someone laying in their deathbed, regretting everything.
It's often right. So I like at the moment the bands that I've been really enjoying are Cola, who were a kind of a spin-off of Alt, who did a brilliant song called Beautiful Blue Sky. There's a girl called Tirzah, Tirzah. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. She's amazing. Kate LeBon, who's just playing by accident. Kate LeBon.
This is scrolling through his Spotify list now.
She's amazing. And yeah, I think the song of the last decade is "Human" by Molly Sorrell. I think it's the most extraordinarily beautiful piece of music I've heard in years. I can't stop listening to it. So yeah, I'm still really enjoying discovering new bands, and there seem to be just as many good ones as there always was. So yeah, it's a boom time. Actually, it's actually a great time for. I put a little bit of this in the book. It's a great time for female artists because now they don't have to navigate the grabby manager or the annoying drummer. They can record everything themselves, bring it out themselves, and bypass a lot of all that old boys' school stuff.
In terms of just being an independent artist?
Yeah, it seems that way. And so as a result, it's a bit of a golden age for female singer-songwriters. If you want, I'll do a compilation. I've got some brilliant artists to share.
Desperately want to know which ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, so Human.
What was it that
you said
Human
is the song
by
of the
Molly
decade?
Sarle. Sarle. Might be Sarle, but I think it's Molly Sarle. It's astonishing. But I'll put it on a thing with a few other people.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, Graham. Well, we've been talking for about an hour now. Anything that you want to leave the people with for them to know?
No, just keep fighting, keep turning up to events. I think we have.
I want you to leave the people with
I think it's all
the knowledge that you suffered at the very last moment.
Going to be people trying to figure out what just happened.
That wasn't what she meant.
Why women were insulted to this extent? Why kids were put at such risk? Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think it's just keep donating to the fundraisers and keep fighting and hopefully we won't have to think about any of this stuff in a year or two.
Mm. Excellent. Well, thank you, Graham. Please go out.
Yeah, well,
I just looked up the song.
Right, so
yeah,
let me
so we're done.
Stop sharing. So yeah, that's that's part 1 and part 2 done.
Yeah.
That was slightly more I say angry from my part. With my
I was.
constant fucking tangents. But
It was good.
I've just gotten to a point where I don't care anymore.
I'm just happy that
I was
I'm no
thinking,
longer the only person who wants people to kill themselves on this
yeah,
show.
I I try to maintain
Yeah.
and control my anger because I didn't want to come out at the bat like really angry because I mean
Yeah.
you heard it here and there in spurts in the few podcasts where I'll just go off on one. But for the most part, I was trying to maintain it. But I think what's happened to Sophie Reddell, obviously hearing about what that disgusting sicko had done, it just pushed me over the edge. And obviously, the constant misinformation that pushes, it's like seriously, like it just came all to a head, and I just
I get that.
said fuck it. So
it was good.
not that I have to defend myself, but I'm going to say this. When I said the K word, I meant it, but I want to say and caveat this again. Everything that I say after, I want to caveat because just to clarify. Right, as someone who suffers with suicidal ideation, suicidal thoughts, self harm, right? I don't take that word lightly.
No.
Right. That is the first time.
Yeah.
I've said that word out loud.
Yeah. And
right? I don't want anyone to take that out of context. The reason why I said it is because I have personally had VCs and turfs say that to me.
Yeah.
On more than one occasion. And I'm sure Max has had the same said to her.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've said
I'm just using their game. But again, I do not take that word lightly because as again, someone who suffers from suicidal ideation, right? No. So
no, absolutely. And I can defend every single time I've used it on this podcast.
Yeah.
I absolutely can. And I want to be absolutely clear. When I actually tell someone to that's not anymore. At that point, because I think the first time I said it on the live on podcast was when I told anybody who's ever abused a child, kill yourself. Yeah, do that actually. If you have abused a child, fucking do it. Because you should.
Yeah, because
or you should die at least. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I will. I'm not gonna go into detail, but when
my foot is asleep. I'm sorry.
When what happened to me, obviously I was abused, right, by my dad. When we eventually left that situation, for years I wanted to find him and kill him, or unalive him, right, for years. And when he eventually died, he died due to alcoholic poisoning because he was an alcoholic. That pissed me off even more because I wanted to be the one to do it.
I get that.
So that's my experience.
Yeah.
Anyone who harms anyone, I don't obviously if it's a child, it hurts even more.
Yeah, that's my soft spot. Sore spot.
Right. and it absolutely irritates the fuck out of me when someone would turn around to me and say, "Oh, I bet if you go anywhere near a school, you will be like basically threatening me with violence." And I'm like, "Do you realize who you're speaking to?"
Yeah.
Like, no, right? So anyone, if you harm children, literally do yourself a favor and
Mm.
unalive yourself, because believe me, if you were sent to prison, because there's a weird thing about prisoners. For some reason, people who have done heinous crimes, for some reason, they really hate it when someone has harmed a child. They
Yeah.
really gets to them for some reason.
Yeah,
And
that's
so you
just
wouldn't
children
last long.
are like.
Yeah. So you wouldn't last long in prison. So that would be the best thing to do. Right. There is
Also, like a lot of
so
criminals has this weird. A lot of like criminals has this weird sense of. Again, they have a code, and like
yeah.
one of those things is like you do not fuck with the ones who are too weak to fuck with you back, in a sense.
Yeah. And weirdly, right?
And I kind of agree with it.
Yeah, and weirdly, the majority of prisoners who have the majority of prisoners who have that code of conduct, shall we say, are typically murderers.
Yeah.
Be it
Which is
that,
fucking bizarre.
yeah, but yeah. So yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah. When you listen to this, do bear in mind that you're gonna hear me go off on more than one occasion. Rightly
It was
so, or
fun. It was.
probably yeah. And
I've had
so
fun.
yeah, so you're gonna obviously hear and see a more angrier version of me. It's probably not gonna be. You're probably not gonna see that side of me every week, but
No.
it'll come out at some points. But yeah, hope
And
you enjoyed
I
it.
just want to say to anyone who just listened to this, you need to go check the video because there's a visual gag that I did where I have had running makeup now for like the last hour because I was
Yeah,
so fucking cruel to him when he talked about his dead father. I put on running makeup like my tears were crying, like I was crying. My tears were crying. What the fuck? That sounds like a Simple Plan song.
yeah, yeah.
I hate that band. So just check out the video.
Yeah. Like I say, we do. Like I say, I download the video form, so you'll be able, so they'll be able to watch this on Spotify and on YouTube. So you know, yeah. So you can enjoy us in glorious vision.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Again, enjoy for everyone listening. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you all have fun. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I'm going to
Same.
certainly enjoy mine. I'm going to de-stress.
Yeah.
Probably do
I'm going.
some meditation to calm
I
down.
think I'm going to like. I have found a chaser at my new place. Like I moved like a year ago, and now I have found a chaser around here, and I'm kind of thinking I need to fuck him. I've never fucked a chaser, so that might be my Friday. And on Saturday, boyfriend gets here. That's one of my funniest bits, by the way. I laugh every time I do it. I have never said like I have said it, but like I've never written on Twitter my boyfriend. It's always boyfriend, just, and I don't know why I find it so fucking funny. I always just refer to him as boyfriend, like an indefinite article.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works. I mean,
Yeah, I constantly forget it too as well, so I have to go back and like delete it from the fucking tweet. It's the only thing. It's the only typo I find. All of my other typos are in there. Like
yeah.
I'm the typo queen. But yeah, this was fun. So
Yeah.
next time, I will.
Yeah,
Fine.
I'm sure. Roles will reverse at some point. You know,
Yeah.
or maybe not. Who knows? But I hope you enjoy this episode. Also,
I know
don't
I did.
forget about don't forget about our bonus episode that went up as well. So you're info. So you know you've been tweeted because I was thinking of keeping that one back, but I thought, you know what, fuck it. Yeah, it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
It needed to go up straight away, so I decided to upload it as a bonus episode. So do
Yeah,
check
I
that
kind
out.
of like that.
Yeah,
It was cool.
and
Also, like it had a good spread. I think. Like I saw a lot of retweets on it. I
yeah,
think.
and yeah. So this one, and I think that's what I might do going forward. If we have say another interview lined up,
Yeah.
I may get back in touch with Heather at some point. See if
Oh, I
she
would
wants to
love to
come
have her
back
on
on
again.
again. And
She was
again,
so
I'll
fucking
probably
funny.
do and again I'll probably do the same with that as a bonus episode. But anyway, we've taken up enough of your time, and it's like almost, and we've been recording for like 2 hours and 35 minutes, so we're gonna end it here.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Make sure you know your safety your priority, and have fun. And we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Right, and that.